Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. Hope all you guys are doing well today. So today I want to take a look at Kareem Hunt and basically just take a look at how well he performed last season in the games that he played and sort of what I think we can expect from him in this upcoming season, and just sort of take a look at his ADP, some other factors that have come up recently regarding Kareem Hunt and whether he's basically a good value with where he is being taken in drafts right now. So if you guys are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Luke Beller, and on this channel I talk about fantasy football and the Green Bay Packers. So if you're into either of those things, feel free to subscribe down below to the channel. So when we take a look at Kareem Hunt, coming in last season, he started off, he didn't actually start off because he was suspended for the first 8 games of last season. So we didn't really see much of him until after his 8-game suspension. And through those first 8 games, Nick Chubb really carried the load on that Browns offense. He basically, took charge of the rushing game, of course, but also he caught a good amount of passes in the receiving game as well. And that's sort of what changed whenever Kareem Hunt did come into this offense and started playing. He basically took a lot of the receptions from Nick Chubb. And I actually made a video recently about Nick Chubb, and one of the things that caps Nick Chubb's upside is Kareem Hunt and just the way that the Browns used him last season when it came to the receiving game. So right now I want to take a look at some of his stats, Kareem Hunt's stats from last season. So this is, of course, in those 8 games he played. He rushed the ball 43 times, had 179 yards, and then 2 touchdowns. Then he got 44 targets in the receiving game, had 37 receptions, 285 yards, and 1 touchdown. So when we take a look, that means like about each game he was averaging about 35 reception yards per game, which is about 4.6 receptions per game. And so he really was, I guess he was used more so in the passing game than in the running game. And when we sort of take a look at just how much they used him when he came in, Hunt played in 54% of the snaps in all the games that he was in. And in those last 4 or 5 games, he played in 60% of the snaps. So when he came onto this team, Nick Chubb still carried the load when it really came to the rushing game. But as I said earlier, Kareem Hunt really came in and took lots of the passes from Nick Chubb. And honestly, when you sort of look at what happened when Kareem Hunt came in and basically how well they both did, like when you just look at fantasy points, there was honestly a massive difference for Nick Chubb. I'm going to throw up right now basically this split of Nick Chubb, sort of how well he did with Kareem Hunt and how well he did when Kareem Hunt wasn't there. So when you take a look at when it says end split, that means it's with Kareem Hunt. So whenever Kareem Hunt came back into this team, and he only averaged 12.97 points per game PPR. But whenever Kareem Hunt wasn't on the team, I guess, when he was suspended, of course, through those first 8 games, Nick Chubb was averaging 19.6 points a game. So when you take a look at that's like a massive difference between basically his performance. And if you also look at through those 8 games, basically where they were ranked in fantasy football, Kareem Hunt was ranked as the RB17 and Chubb was the RB15. That's a PPR. And so they were whenever Kareem Hunt came into this team, like they were very similarly skilled and similarly matched. And so just because of that, I find it hard to believe that Kareem Hunt is going as far as he is going. Of course, with Nick Chubb on this team, it sort of caps his upside. But if you take a look at where Kareem Hunt is going, when you take a look at his ADP right now, I'll throw that up there as well. Right now, he's being taken as a 29th running back in PPR leagues, 31st in standard. So that puts him, the guys that are going ahead of him right now are Mark Ingram and Cam Akers. Considering Hunt finished as the RB17 when he was playing those 8 games, right now he's being taken as the 29th running back in PPR. I think that he should be going earlier, and so I think that you can get value from him by picking him with where he's going right now. I think he has a really solid floor when it comes to especially PPR, because he does catch 4 to 5 passes a game. At least last season, he definitely has a floor when it comes to that. And so one other factor too that recently came out this offseason is the Browns basically were talking about how they want to utilize Kareem Hunt, sort of split him out wide and use him as a receiver sometimes, because on the Browns, they have Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, but after that, their receivers aren't really as talented. And so Kareem Hunt could come in and fill some of those spots. That's at least what they're sort of talking about. And they talked about him being in some of the virtual meetings for the wide receivers as well. So that sort of is one area where if they use him in that way, his value will go up even more. He'll catch even more passes on that team in the receiving game. And so with him being picked as a 29th running back, so maybe like this 5th or 6th round, I think there's lots of value for him. He's going to have solid value. But then one thing I really wanted to look at is, when it comes to later rounds in drafts, what you're really looking for is, just sort of drafting for upside, because the first few rounds, most guys, you have a pretty solid idea of sort of how they'll do. Not completely, but you don't want to be as risky in the beginning if there's some, big question marks on players, because, those first few rounds of drafts can really mess you up if you really do get a guy who just completely is a dud. But when we take a look like later in drafts, it's like you want to draft for upside because your goal is not to just like finish in the top half of your league. Your goal is to win the league, and to win your league, you have to have players on your team or pick up guys on the waiver wire who really come in and just outperform what everyone thinks. And I think that the upside with Kareem Hunt is if Nick Chubb ever goes down, whether that's for a few games or if he gets a season-ending injury, Kareem Hunt will probably automatically become like a top 5 running back. Because if you take a look at like Kareem Hunt when he was on the Chiefs, I don't know if you guys remember, but he performed insanely well. And if you take a look at his points per game when he was on the Chiefs, he was basically the lone running back on that team. He averaged 19.5 PPR points per game. And so I think that's the upside with Kareem Hunt. So when you pick him, you're basically getting a guy who has a solid floor when it comes to like PPR, maybe a little less in standard. But being picked as a 29th running back, you have a guy who you can stick in and play, who will, do a little bit in the passing game and sort of get you points in that way. But then just in the off chance that Nick Chubb does get injured, which is very possible considering, running backs get injured a lot, Kareem Hunt could really be a league winner for you if Nick Chubb got injured. And so I think that he's such a good pick because there's just a pretty good floor, like a somewhat good floor when it comes to the receiving game, but then the upside is just sort of crazy with how well he can do for you if Nick Chubb gets injured. So just the fact that you have that guy on your team, and then maybe later this season Nick Chubb goes down, then Kareem Hunt could be a guy that could win you your league. And I think that that's one way I think you can sort of just look at fantasy football, just finding guys later in rounds who will really just sort of take you over the edge, because there are always guys who come in and do that. So I think just the later rounds, at least for me, it's just finding multiple guys who you think have some good upside and have the potential to really perform later in the season. I think Kareem Hunt is one of those guys. There's a small chance that could happen. And so that's basically what I wanted to take a look at Kareem Hunt and basically give you a look at sort of what he looked like with Nick Chubb, how Nick Chubb played. And there really is a pretty big difference when Nick Chubb played with him and without him. And so even though Nick Chubb is a lead running back, he is one of the best backs in the league, they will still utilize both of them. And so as I stated in this video, Kareem Hunt I think is a good value with where he's being picked, in those later rounds, like 5th or 6th, 7th round, depending on sort of where he goes in those rounds. But that's basically all I wanted to share in this video. So I hope you guys got some value from it. If you did, feel free to like it down below. Feel free to subscribe to this channel as well, because I post about 5 videos a week. This week I'm going to post 10 videos, so I'm going to double my output this week, try to just get some more content out there. So that's basically going to be all for this video. Appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you, I appreciate it, and I will see you guys on the next video.